Morning, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. It is 8:35 Monday morning. I guess I don't know what the date is. Might as well get that figured out real quick. The 18th. Um, as you can see on the screen, finally came across something that definitely caught my attention about the about the Maui fires. I'm trying to stay away from the Maui fires because I don't know enough about Hawaii to even begin to comment on it. But I subscribe to this guy right here, the real Dawg. So thank you for your video. That led me to this video, which is hustle. I'm not gonna say that word. So let's get into it and tell me what you guys think.
Are you still wearing enough layers to insulate Alaska? That's why you need the new
And I need some layers right now. It's cold.
Today's video is full of questions about the massacre in Maui. Besides looking at FEMA being caught red-handed trying to fool the public, we're going to look at so much more. You guys have left such amazing comments that certainly have opened my mind to any and all possibilities of what may have actually happened in the Maui fire. I have to ask you, does everything just feel weird? I know it's not right to judge based on appearances, so we won't even go there, but what about our gut? Does your gut feel the weirdest vibes coming out of this whole situation and how it's all unfolding? Is there just one piece of information that doesn't feel corrupted? Just one. Just something we can all agree on that says, yeah, okay, that's factual and makes total sense. Isn't that the role of the news outlets? Since we're not getting answers from the officials, like the death toll, I want you to set aside judgment during this video and allow yourself just to absorb the information and, just like me, consider different theories as to what happened. Respectfully, and in the interest of finding out where the children are and looking at all possibilities, someone asked, what if the children aren't dead? If not, where are they? What really happened to all the children during the time while the police barricaded access to the exits? A video has been published showing trapped Lahaina residents trying to escape while police blocked off roads purposely as they tried to escape the Maui fires.
I just can't freaking see.
Just put your phone down, all video.
They're not letting anyone up. We're just trying to get out. Now we're out of it.
We can see now.
Okay.
I can't believe that. It was like black. That was crazy. Wow.
Ooh.
We're good now.
Yep, we're good. We're out.
Yeah. There's another engine. Let's go.
Yeah.
It was right next to our car.
Right.
Could have reached out and touched it.
I don't know which way to go. I guess just keep going away from the fire.
Yeah. Both sides, to the left and the right, are on fire. It's scary.
As you'll hear, survivors felt like they were in an actual real-life nightmare.
That's all I could hear was get out, get out, get out in my head. Punched the screen part out. Flames and smoke came out of that window that I just jumped out of. And our whole house was consumed with flames, and all around me all I could see was fire and smoke and stuff, and it was so eerie. There was not a sound other than flames and cackling smoke, but in the eeriness, I felt I was in a Twilight Zone nightmare.
We never thought during our lifetime that we would ever be in a position like this. It is like, it's like a nightmare. You know, we're in a nightmare. We lost everything. Everybody had hope. Somebody would have a home. You know, at least save one home. But nobody got saved. Everybody lost everything.
The projected number of wildfire deaths remains elusive, with over 1,000 still missing. Another question. Are all of the deceased indigenous people? Did they actually wipe out entire generations so that they can't claim their own land? Let's recap. They burnt down people's homes and land, so their homes were basically stolen. People were evicted from their own property. People were trapped in the fire purposely. The water to fight the fire was also turned off. Children are still missing. Food and water for the victims was being withheld. Victims, along with the rest of the world, are still being lied to. Mainstream media is starting to publish articles like this one, which says, in deadly Maui fires, many had no warning and no way out. Those who dodged barricades survived. As flames tore through a West Maui neighborhood, car after car of fleeing residents headed for the only paved road out of town in a desperate race for safety. And car after car was turned back toward the rapidly spreading wildfire by a barricade blocking access to Highway 30. One family swerved around the barricade and was safe in a nearby town 48 minutes later. Another drove their four-wheel drive car down a dirt road to escape. A key takeaway is that only those who disobeyed survived. What really stuck out the most in this article was this. Many of the survivors are angry and haunted by the thought that just a few minutes of notice could have saved many lives. We needed like 10 more minutes and we could have saved a lot of kids if we just had like a 10 or 15 minute warning. Matt Walsh commented after seeing this story saying, just to review, the local government in Maui didn't use the sirens to alert residents to the fire, didn't allow access to water to put out the fire, and blocked the only exits out of town. This is one of the greatest scandals in American history. Many people should be in prison. Even Elon Musk himself chimed in, saying they should be prosecuted if there's any justice in this world. Cernovich tweeted, man, this is hard to read for anyone, especially if you have kids. DEI and other ESG mandated policies killed. There are multiple ways Maui ends differently. Alarms go off. Amber Sleepy emergency style texts get sent. Water basin for firefighting is filled. On and on. The survivors of the fire in Maui are left homeless, jobless, and without money. Robert F. Kennedy tweeted, President Biden just offered a $700 payment per household to Maui residents. He's also asking for $25 billion for Ukraine. Let's do a little math. There are about 50,000 households in Maui. $25 billion adds up to $500,000 per household. That gives you some idea of what this nation is sacrificing to fund the war machine. Not to mention, refugees get $2,275. So Hawaiians get $700 to rebuild their entire lives. Why don't you go check out prices for hotels and Airbnbs in Maui and tell me what you can find for $700 there. That might get you 2, maybe 3 nights max. Meanwhile, FEMA officials are living it up in 5-star resorts on Maui.
Hello everyone, Governor Green here. I'm with Deanne Criswell, who is the head of FEMA.
To new beginnings.
Really? Commercials? Worse than regular TV, man.
Where we're seeing the devastation. So, thank you.
Governor, and just appreciate.
Alright, because I've already watched this video before, and, well, I guess twice, once through the real Dawg. Thanks again for your work. And then again to get it from the source. And, at first I was just happy, okay, that finally some things out there that make sense. But now I'm completely angry about it. And it's the same reason I got angry when I read what I could of the Pentagon Papers. It's the same reason I got extremely angry when I read things that can and cannot be said about a possibility I could get behind on why 9/11 happened and why we went to war with Iraq and Afghanistan, which, as you know, isn't going to be what the media's told you. I like anything that makes me think. I try to get whoever watches my videos thinking. This video is going to maybe get you thinking, and I still actually I didn't realize, like, this actually just makes me mad. This is 3 weeks ago this got put out, and I'm just coming across it. But like I said, I've tried to stay away from the Maui Fires. But let's get back into it. I just kind of want to know what you guys' reactions are. Or like I said, at first, obviously mine was yes, or something out there that makes sense, and it keeps us in the angles of thinking. Anyways, let's get back to it.
You allowing me to come here with you today, and it's so important that I have an opportunity to talk with you and be on the ground and see exactly what happened. I know we're going to go talk to survivors later to have a better understanding of what this impact really is to this community and how we're going to be able to work together to provide creative solutions to support the immediate needs, but also to think about what the long-term needs are going to be.
Now, whenever I hear the word FEMA, it only reminds me of this, which, by the way, this footage was completely wiped from the internet.
Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, had staged a fake news conference Tuesday with agency staffers posing as news reporters.
Had its own employees, you see them sitting down right there, pretend to be reporters and ask the questions.
This is an excerpt of the fake news conference where the FEMA staff asked their boss, well, friendly questions.
Are you happy with FEMA's response so far?
I'm very happy with FEMA's response so far, is to make sure that we understand the situation and can bring the right support to the state. This is a FEMA and a federal government that's leaning forward, not waiting to react. And you have to be pretty pleased to see that. And ask Governor Schwarzenegger what he thinks about FEMA's performance. He'll tell you the same thing, that he couldn't be more pleased how FEMA recognizes the role the federal government is facilitating that effort to the benefit of the state, the communities, and those disaster victims in California. So you have to be really proud at the way our FEMA team is pulled together. So I think as a nation, people should sit up and take notice that you have the worst wildfire season in history in California, and look at how well the state and the local governments are performing. Look at how well we're working together between state and federal partners. It's a good thing to see, and it should be reassuring the American public that if a disaster does strike our country, whether it's California or hurricane on the Gulf Coast, that we'll do the same thing. We'll pull together to support state and locals.
Being questioned by, well, the country thought they were reporters, but they were FEMA staffers posing as reporters. Homeland Security Chief Michael Chertoff called the stage news briefing, quote, one of the dumbest and most inappropriate things I've seen.
Tuesday, FEMA's deputy administrator held what was called a news briefing to talk about the California wildfires. And from what we understand, the questions were posed not by reporters, but by staffers. And that distinction was not made known. Is that appropriate?
It is not. It is not a practice that we would employ here at the White House. We certainly don't condone it. We didn't know about it beforehand. FEMA has issued an apology saying that they had an error in judgment. It's not something I would have condoned, and I'm sure will not do it again. You'll have to ask them about why they decided to do that.
Will anybody be reprimanded?
You'll have to ask FEMA.
Imagine that. FEMA lied and have continued to lie to the people of America throughout each tragedy. Galliano Tiramani is the founder of Boxable, which are basically tiny homes that unfold in an instant to provide immediate shelter. Galliano tweeted, "I've reached out to every government contact I can think of to try and get our houses to Maui, but gotten no response. Boxable is prepared to divert 200 houses to Maui today. If anyone can help make that happen, email me." On yesterday's update, we discussed how the Maui Police Chief, John Pelletier, is also the coroner, but we were left with so many questions. For one, how does Pelletier, who worked in the Las Vegas desert, suddenly then transfer to the small island of Maui and become the first non-native chief so easily? The only connection I see between Vegas and Maui is that they refer to Vegas as the 9th island. How does a close-knit community like Maui look at this guy's resume, see he was deeply connected and in charge of the deadliest shooting in U.S. history, and say, hey, you're hired, and while you're at it, here's a 30% boost in your income? Who else came over to the island of Maui that has a dark history like this guy? What other officials are behind the scenes and are connected to this massacre? Pelletier is poisonous, and what he's saying simply does not make sense.
When we find these, our family and our friends, the remains we're finding is through a fire that melted metal.
I'm sure plenty of you have seen these videos that have been coming out of Maui of vehicles literally melting onto the street. The aluminum is literally melting out of the vehicles, and the melting point for aluminum is 1220 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just crazy because, as you can see in this next video, none of the asphalt has melted along with this, and you would expect that to happen in fires that are reaching over 1220 degrees, and the melting point of asphalt is 343 degrees Fahrenheit. So make that make sense.
We have to do rapid DNA to identify them. So when we pick up the remains and they fall apart, that's what you're stepping on. I don't know how much more you want me to describe it. That's what you're stepping on.
So as a former funeral home owner and licensed funeral director for over 2 decades, I worked very extensively and closely with our local crematory. I was taught by that crematory that they need to cremate in between 2,000 and 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So the question is, how hot were those fires to be able to incinerate or cremate human remains? We know that it was at a higher level than 1,500 to 2,500 because it melted the rims on the vehicles. Why are there no bodies in the cars?
All right, so you guys left a lot of comments, and you commented about the date 8/8 as well as HARP, dew, and the color blue. Newsweek is trying to debunk theories about blue objects and direct energy weapons, as those two topics keep rising to the top of social media conversations. The Maui Fire. Look, I'm not going completely down the rabbit hole of dew just yet, but so many of you have asked me to talk about it, so we're just going to dip our toes in it for today. The first thing I saw was this.
Watch closely. It took me a few times. Boom. Right above the, what was that? The blue street.
Now, like I said, a lot of you have also asked, what's up with the color blue in the Maui Fire? The theory is that a blue wave laser can start a fire instantly from a distance, and when it does, the only thing left standing is anything with the same color of the laser beam. Blue. Now, I know we're talking about lasers here, and at first I thought it was absolutely nuts. But how do you explain this?
A lot of things that are blue, for some reason, stood the test of the fire. Got this blue car, and these homes had blue in it. I mean, it gets weird. Here, blue survived it. The cloth, the boat, that survived in the ocean.
Sorry, but there's a time I was pointing at the video. I was trying to point out there was blue things in that video that was not burned, because I knew it added up to this. I hate when other people pause on videos. It's like, let's get it going.
And these are all just the mainstream articles showing us. The boat was blue. The car that survived, right, it's still blue. And I mean, this is what they showed in the mainstream news.
Okay, guys, this is the last episode I'm going to do for a while, but it should be a pretty good one. It's things that did not burn during the fire. I went through hours of footage, and it was pretty interesting what I found. Here are the famous umbrellas. These are actually Tommy Bahama umbrellas. And the sole surviving car on Front Street in front of the outlet mall. And I actually found another sole survivor car the other direction that's a little bit further south on Front Street. You can see it on the left in this frame here.
And then, without getting too deep into it on this video, there's also HARP.
The intense energy being beamed into the sky by HARP is actually heating up the atmosphere, causing weather changes.
HARP is being used for weather modification. The military's own record proves it. They've admitted it within their own documents, and yet they still deny it to the public.
Even mainstream media has reported on weather modification.
And now we're...
Alright, this is almost over, but I know sometimes I've talked about flat earth theory because I can get behind it a whole lot more than we're a globe. So when they're doing that HARP theory, the first one they do, just try to pay attention to the object it makes, okay, or the way it shows it. Now that would be consistent with what the Bible says and what flat earth is, that, you know, we're covered by a dome. It even says it in the Vatican Bible. If you haven't never seen that video where I mention it, go to Vatican Bible Archives. It's in Genesis. You want it to go far. It literally says we're covered by a dome. So it's like they show us, okay, look, the earth is flat, but because you think the earth is round, or I mean a globe. I'm not saying the earth isn't round. In flat earth theory, it is round. The globe covered with a dome. Anyways, back to it. So just watch and see which one you think makes more sense. And you know, you have to just drop all your scientific thoughts and facts you think you were taught in school. Just watch.
And then, without getting too deep into it on this video, there's also HARP.
The intense energy being
Flat
beamed
Earth.
into the sky by HARP is actually heating up the atmosphere, causing weather changes.
And then
HARP
the
is
globe,
being
it's going to
used for
go
weather
down. See?
modification. The military's own record proves it. They've
I
admitted
mean,
it within their own documents, and yet they still deny it to the public.
Even
first off,
mainstream
HARP has to
media
be
has
real.
reported on weather modification.
And now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right, lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning.
Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially...
Even with all that being said, is that going to be more likely to control weather? And let's say you want to do it from China, control weather here in America, alright? Is that going to be easier to do in a flat earth theory coming from the sky or a globe earth? I'm not saying lasers don't bend, because I mean we can get something in the sky, I guess. I don't know. I'm assuming we can get everything else in the sky. Apparently we can get to the moon and Mars and all this other stuff to shoot a laser beam down to whatever. But how would that even make sense? Because so you'd be shooting up, I would think, to control it. I don't know. That's something I might have to dig into. But again, just which one makes more sense for it to work? For the fact of running around a surface that's covered by a dome, controlling things, or it's a globe, and I'm in China over here, and I'm going to control the weather over here in America, or I'm in China over here, and I'm going to hit the sky over here in America. I don't know. I know which one makes more sense to me.
A game changer. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control.
All right, I think we're going to leave it right there for today. If you feel I earned it, please give this video a like and
I did,
subscribe to
just
the
so
channel.
you know.
Continue
Everybody go show Hustle Female Dawg some love for doing what he does. Show your support. I think that's just a fun video altogether. I'm going to stop my recording and hopefully be able to right back up from where I was, because now it's time for a little bit of humor, I think. No, not humor yet. In fact, just bear with me, guys. I might clean it up in editing. I don't know yet. But something else caught my attention this morning, and I guess it is and I'm just going to show it so you know it's out there. Easy to find it. I'm just going to... There it is, UAW strike 2023 update. So here it all is. You see it on my screen. These workers, from what I've caught, want more money. Okay. And I'm not saying anybody shouldn't get paid their worth, first off, and I'm definitely not saying they shouldn't be paying all of us to keep up with inflation, because it's extremely hard out there. For some of us, anyways. I get out here just to get some groceries. Whatever, I smoke cigarettes and I might have to get gas. You're going to spend $100 a day. And then, but even when you get groceries, you're adding up $30, $40. And you got like 2 bags of nothing. But, so I'm all for, like I said, people getting paid their worth. And we should all be getting paid to keep up with the inflation. I mean, they created this mess. Alright, they need to be compensating us for it. But the way it works, we get paid more than cost of things go up, just because they always want to keep us evened out to where we can never rise. Okay, they don't want us rising. They want us divided because of our race, or because of our religion, or because you want to kill babies, and I don't think it's right to be going around killing babies. That's a discussion we could probably be best to stay away from, because I'm just gonna come from a biblical standpoint. But and then the question I love that I've heard from Ray Comfort: when is it okay to kill a baby? Well, female got raped, and I used to be behind that. Female gets raped, she should have the right to kill the baby, but now you're punishing the kid for the sins of the father. The kid didn't make the father do it. The kid had no choice in the matter. All right. All children are a blessing. So the last video I done, and that woman just sit there straight face, just making sure the woman agreed with her, you know, saying, you should kill babies because they're a financial burden and all that. What? And I always knew that was part of their pitch for Planned Parenthood or whatever. Look, you know, you gotta be able to work, and if you have a baby, you have to buy diapers, and you got to feed it for 18 years. I mean, that's just the worst argument I've ever heard, but people go for it. So, anyways, whatever. Back to the UAW thing. So as much as I agree about you should never get paid your worth, and I can see the point how all these big companies make, you know, all these millions and millions of dollars, and you're sitting there not making millions and millions of dollars. Well, it wasn't your idea. You're not running the company, right? But yes, you should definitely get paid. So all that being said, you're not very smart right now, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm surprised you guys ain't thought about this. Now, I'm not completely sure how the union works. I did work for the union briefly, and I lived out in California well over 18 years ago. So anyways, doesn't matter. Just briefly. But, so you're out there demanding more money, and we've got hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants that need jobs. They'll probably get in there and learn what you were doing and do it cheaper and better. Could do it better, could do it worse too. But that's always been the argument. I work construction. I've done the landscaping and building bridges and whatever. But I would hear foremen say and company owners say, why go hire 1, 2, 3 white guys or whatever and pay them X amount of dollars that ain't going to work that hard, and I'd go hire 5 Mexicans and get twice the work for half the pay. Alright, so as much as I agree with you, get your money. We should all be getting some money. You try to keep up with the inflation. You should be paid your worth at your work. Alright, because some people are sitting there on your phones all day not taking care of customers. Well, you shouldn't be making 10, 15 bucks an hour. You're not doing anything. You're not doing your job. You don't show up for work. Show up late, whatever. You're always calling out. You shouldn't be getting paid for that. At least not well. Because if you're just worried about having money and keeping your lights on and food on your table, you'd be showing up to work and working. Because back in the day, at least, if you didn't work, you got fired. I mean, that was just an easy way to don't listen to your boss, don't show up, don't work, back talk, don't show respect to customers, hospitality. I mean, all those things get you fired. But we do live in a different time, different place. So let's do definitely get the some entertainment. I've got to remember where to find it real quick. And this kind of struck my funnies in a couple of different ways. Uh-oh. Might help if I delete everything. You know what? I'm just going to look them up by name because... Is it on here? I'm going to open it up. Okay, so I'll just find it by the title. Oh, no. Now, some of you might watch this video and sitting there, maybe you'll comment with just a bunch of scientific things about how, you know, if they can, manipulate the weather, and a bunch of us believe they have been. In fact, I remember with the last hurricanes, there were some videos out there, and people were like, look at that lightning and how it's doing that. They're like, that's not normal. And it was one of the hurricanes here kind of recently. I forgot what I was saying. I guess it matters. I've never really looked into HAARP myself. I just know I've heard about it, and I'm like, definitely, I could get behind it, you know, because you've got, and that's another thing about flat earth theory, and it just ties into why I can get behind it, because, you know, I'm just trying to come from the lens of we've been lied to our entire lives about a lot of things, But I'm also trying to come from a lens of one day the devil sat down with God. The devil said, you know what, I can get more people to follow me than you. God said, knowing how it's all going to end anyways, alright, I'll take that bet. Alright, so the devil's had plenty of time to get people in the right places anyways. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but I'm reading the Bible. I'm in Old Testament. So far, I haven't came across anything that suggests the earth is a globe. In fact, the exact opposite, that it's flat. One of the last things I was in was Joshua, and he had asked God to stop the sun and the moon. So my first question is, why didn't he stop the earth? Because science tells us the earth is rotating, moving. The Bible tells us it's motionless. Okay, and I believe that's in Genesis, also in the beginning. So, in order to start the confusion, so there's people out there that want to disprove and take away God. Alright, so disproving God, you'd have to get the majority of the people believing that the earth is a globe. And that's a good first step. I'm not trying to make a joke on Facebook. The reason everybody ran to mask and vaccines is because science told you to, because science has you believing that we're walking sideways, Australia's upside down, and water runs uphill. But like I also said on Facebook, the earth is a globe or flat. Nobody can prove it to me from pictures from outer space. And I've got a buddy that's telling me, man, watch this video of the ISS or whatever. And no, because I can watch plenty of movies that makes me feel like I'm in this, like the one with Sandra Bullock when they're in space, that I'm in there with them. So we're gonna have to get on this video. I forgot what I was talking about again. Oh yeah, so anyways, I can just get behind. Unless we get to space, we go to space together, and see it with our own eyes. Can't nobody prove to me the earth is flat or round, but I can just get behind. Well, you don't understand physics, and you don't know. When I was in science class and they started telling me the earth was rotating, spinning, and moving and all this other stuff, you lost me right then and there, because you're telling me a bunch of baloney when my eyes and my body and my senses tell me differently. Alright, so sure, if I can find my report card, you go look at it at science, and during the time they're talking about all that, no. It didn't make sense to me then. It didn't want to make sense to me now. So it's not like I just woke up and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna get on this flat earth thing. But anyway, so I'm coming from a lens where we've been lied to. They're trying to disprove God and play God, so they're trying to control the weather. Ugh. And everything to play God. But the one thing I haven't seen yet, I mean, just think, even being able to control the weather from a military standpoint, what that gives you. I mean, that gives you so if we can do it, don't think China can't do it. That's one thing for sure. So yeah, they keep trying to play God. But one thing I haven't seen them do is take dirt. I haven't seen science take nothing and create something from it. So when I'm getting at, people could be like, well, you know, they can clone. Okay, you're right, they can clone, but you're taking something that already exists and mocking it, replicating it. You do what God did, then maybe I'll start listening to you a little bit more. But until then, no. sorry it's taking me so long to get here, but apparently I can't multitask as much as I used to. All this just so I can make you guys laugh. And this is from, I don't want to say their names wrong, so hopefully this will come up. There they are, okay. CBOW and SNAPPA. Came across this from them. But what I'm going to do, so you guys know where to find it, you can go show them some support if you like. They're put out some pretty decent content, and I'm not trying to take away from what they're doing. It's just the direction I'm going. It seems like
what's going on, guys?
They're slightly
so shout out to the first one. Shout out
behind.
To had a steak dinner. Shout out to
some of the research I've done.
And the reason I pulled this up
But
because
they are fun to watch.
Saw these
And I like seeing people wake up to the truth.
Sanford and Son, but it had Donald
They
Trump
know
head on
they've
one.
been lied to.
It had Nancy Pelosi on the other. And I watched one of them, and boy, it was
I was
super
gonna bring
funny.
up the
So
actual.
shout out to CP3 memes. The original video will be in the link below. But this is funny. This is funny.
Okay.
And it's several clips. I want to watch this. This funny.
I had a shot in the mouth myself. Let's go see.
Let's just watch it together. It's CBOW and SNAPPA, I think.
Stop it.
I haven't subscribed to these guys, but.
I didn't only enter into it, I'm going to win it. Wrong. That's the first place you can enter that contest because you're not eligible.
It's then almost like a whole bunch of
part of
people.
a certain race. What race? Human. Like I tell you, forget about that. Bow out. Keep yourself from being embarrassed. Why should I be embarrassed? I got everything it takes to win that contest. When I was born, my body was blessed by Mother Nature, honey. And as you got older, it was cursed by Father Time.
Stop it. That's pretty cool, how they're doing that.
It is a super.
Well, Pop, you gonna help me with this garden now? Son, I did my part. I got us a scarecrow.
Look at that.
Oh my God.
This is guaranteed to scare away slugs and snails.
Yo.
Now that's messed up.
Bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. Just remember that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And you remember when you look in the mirror tonight, the Lord gave you that face and you stuck with it.
Can you imagine Trump saying that?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Gorilla.
If I wasn't so sick, I would give you one of these across your ugly lips. Who you calling ugly? I'm calling you ugly. I could stick your face in some dough and make some gorilla cookies.
Yo, come on.
This is crazy. And the facial expressions of Donald Trump is like
killing that crush.
spot on.
Let me tell you something. Every time I see you, it makes me wish that birth control was retroactive.
Look at her. Mouth.
Maybe I'm more reptilian.
Oh my God.
Wow.
For all the reptile conspiracy theorists out there, definitely, if you want to see get on CBOW and SNAPPA so you can get the actual link. I was wanting to find the actual link. Obviously, I didn't do it. I'm gonna get. But I mean,
They had the images of.
don't get mad at me, guys. Showing you guys some love. They do put out some pretty good content out there. I enjoy most of their stuff, but that was definitely made my day. So, anyways, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Drop your comments below. If you like, hit the like button. All those little things help. It's hard out here for a pimp. That's what they say. Yeah.